Hey, what is up everybody, Bladesphere here. Today I brought you guys another video of Persona 5 The Phantom X. Inside this video, you already know what we're going to be talking about, which is the SOS or Sea of Heart little game mode, which can give us one of the best personas, if not the best persona to use on Wonder for the Fox team. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. A lot of you guys wanted this when I did a poll earlier this morning, so wanted to get this out as well for a lot of you guys to actually be able to get this persona. But we're going to be describing exactly how you want to do this whole matchup, the team that you want to use, what you want to have on Wonder, as well as how to go through phase 1 and 2 of this whole thing. So it's going to be fairly interesting, but let's go ahead and get straight into it. All right, so getting straight into SOS, we're going to be taking a look at this fourth one. Now, the fourth one you'll unlock, of course, once you get the 1 through 3 all done with the stars. The fourth one is going to be the one that matters. This one you're going to get ranked on. You're going to be within a certain top percentage. And so this is the one that we're really going to be going over. Now, if you see these coins on the right hand side, these coins will be able to actually exchange for the best persona that's going to be for just Fox's team in general. That will be on Wonder. This persona is King Jack Frost or King Frost himself, and you're gonna want to get this persona quite at least as fast as possible. Now, you can't get the dupes and such like that just from having like the little jewels and like dupes that we actually have from getting them from different little events and things like that. But if you just want to get them immediately, you want to hit top 1%. It's going to easily get you this actual King Frost and easily get you these dupes as fast as possible. Now, I've ended up ranking into 13. This is due majorly because I do have some characters that are duped out. If you want to at least hit the top 1, I think top 1% in general is as long as you're like maybe top 300 or so, and you should still be within the top 1%. And so we're going to be really trying to hit that mark, which you can do as a free to play with low dupes as well. And with Yusuke's 4-star weapon, it's just going to be a little bit difficult. But don't worry, we're going to break this down into a way that a lot of you guys will actually be able to do this. So first things first, first thing we're going to go over is the actual description of this whole SOS. So one of the main things that this SOS is going to be about with these mobs is you're going to need an ice team. Ice team is going to be mandatory if you want to score high in this. It's going to be really important to get this with a regular multiplier of 1. Nothing too big, nothing too little. But if you want the better multiplier, this is going to go on the phase 2. But firstly, we have to live through phase 1. So the first team that you're going to end up wanting to bring is something like this. Now, you don't need to have, of course, the girl Ren in this one. I highly suggest having her here because her debuffs do come in handy, especially when you want to do a ton more damage in this. You could very well just replace her with Soy, or you could use Mont. If anything, if you're not going to use Ren, just use Soy. It's probably your best choice, especially for that defense shred. But if you don't have, of course, Soy and you have Ren, boom, she's a perfect person for this. Now with this, you want to go full defense mode with Wonder. Make sure he has his defense weapon. This is going to be the same for the secondary team as well. And for the personas that you want to use Norn, Cert, and then I keep forgetting this one's, I think it's Mythos. And you want to use these 3 at all costs. Reason being is because they're going to help you at least set up each of your turns, immediately helping you with this nice little defense buff that will utterly help out your entire run for phase 1. Now, when it comes down to phase 2, you want to use a team that's somewhat like this one. Once again, we're going to be on the defense side of things, and just use whatever you got here. I think for at least Wonder, I just put 3 random things. There are probably, actually, there's not probably, there are better personas to use than this. But I mainly used at least my Pale Rider over here to get the Speed Master buff. Now, that's something that can just be used on any other persona. It's just I didn't feel like inheriting it at the time, and I already have Speed Master on him. So he's in my first slot to give me faster speed. Now, when it comes down to my other 2, I mainly have a Lightning one, which does carry at least one of my buffs that I will use on Yui every now and again to get some nice little damage, as well as just some extra damage in general from the Zeo that it actually does have. And then we have our Psychic persona, being that when she uses her side move, she's able to actually take down the defense related things that we do need. Now for the rest of the team, you want to use Yui, Joker, and Morgana. This is probably the best I would suggest running. Now there are other teams you personally could run if we go ahead and get back in there. I mean to actually get out of there for a second. But there are other teams that you can run. They're all over the actual what's it called, leaderboard. So if you want to run other teams such as like this one here, something like this, you can very well run these. And as you can tell, this is probably the ones that you really want to look at for the most part. Yui, Closer, and then also have Morgana. Or you can just cheat it like me, use Yui, Joker, and Morgana, and it should go pretty darn swell. Now, the whole reason that we're going to be going with this one. First one, Yusuke is going to be your main damage. He's going to be getting a lot of those points, of course, off his counterattacks, and you're going to be stacking up a lot. Now, when it comes down to the second phase, you have the heals to sustain yourself while also getting that nice follow-up from Yui and that OP damage from Joker. Having Okeon boost your whole team, and pretty much using Morgana not only as that healing, but trying to get that guaranteed win debuff on them to actually get that 20%, I think it was, or 11.9% defense down, which is what we are looking for. So now that we've gapped along enough with this, let's go ahead and jump straight into one of the rounds. Alrighty, so we are into our first little run of this, in which I want you guys to take immediately a look at the speed gauge at the top left. That is what you guys want to have your characters kind of around like this, and it's mainly just because you want to set up your debuffs and your buffs beforehand, and there's nothing really too crazy about it. Technicality wise, you want Wonder to go before Yusuke, but it didn't turn out that way for me, and I'll be honest, you don't really need it that way, to be honest. So first things first, you want to go ahead and use Mamba Soup, or at least use the Naughty Lion, triggering your Mamba Soup little effect here. The way that you get Mamba Soup off rip is by having an A1 Rin. This is why what I would like to say, you kind of want to get A1 Rin as fast as possible. If you don't have an A1 Rin, things are going to be a little bit more different for you, but a lot of us hopefully got her to that point because this makes her crazy viable. But when you use Mamba Soup being the S3, and then immediately use the S2 on the man Yusuke. This immediately helps us set up a defense shield and then allows him to set up his counterattack, pretty much getting us ready and just locked into combat. Afterwards, use Norn's Windscreen because this is a two-part move where not only do we get shield, but if the enemy does attack us, which they're going to attack us, they have a high chance of actually inflicting the winded status on themselves, allowing us to get more damage off on them, meaning that they're going to now have, I think it's like 11% defense down. Now, one of your main things that you want to hope for is having Yusuke at least attack every last one of them with a counterattack. It's not all the time that you're ever going to get that, but if you do get that, you're already in a good light of things. Second turn, you want to immediately go ahead and use Puppet's skill 1. I think we're going to use her skill 1 around say 2 times in general, and then the third time that she pops up, we're going to use her skill 3, and that should be near like the 4, I want to say, number of attacks by the leader can do. So the last 4 times we're going to get to use our actual leader character. With this in mind, second turn for Rin, use Ferryman. This allows you to get that nice old defense shred off as well, and then use Yuki's Righteous Hit. Now, seeing we don't have any counter up or anything like that for Yusuke, because this one's kind of weird, we can't trigger it with the S3, but using the S1 allows us to get us some more damage off, in which that's really all we want to have when it does come down to the point value side of things. Now with this one, immediately use Yusuke's ultimate. Now some people will be like, why, you didn't really set up. The reason why we're going to use this is because not only is it going to deal a decent bit of damage in general, but by using it earlier, the quicker we can start utilizing our energy to go ahead and keep getting these ultimates as fast as possible to pretty much get you more point value. With that in mind, use the skill 2, using us a little bit more energy and getting some decent damage off. 85k is pretty good. And then with this one on Wonder, use the skill 1, giving us a nice old defense enhancement buff. At this point in time, you kind of want Yuki to get knocked down, to be honest, because then you get a 1 more attack, and they could possibly trigger your Yusuke going multiple times and counterattacking. But of course, if Yuki doesn't get down, it's perfectly fine. You can still just try to get as many counterattacks as possible off, in which I'm kind of surprised. Oh, look at that. Okay, so we got a counterattack. So this is what I mean, right? Since they got knocked, we get another turn. We get to get another counterattack, so more damage in general. nothing really affects you if you do get knocked for Yuki. It's actually helping you out quite more. Now on turn 3, we're going to use Naughty Lion, pretty much just rinse and repeat. With this in mind, we're going to go ahead and use Yuki skill 2 once again, setting up Yusuke, pretty much getting him as much defense as possible. And then we're going to set up his skill 3, just repeating all of turn 1. The good part for us is we do have that winded status on the boss at the top here, along with defense shred. So this is automatically being amazing. Now, first thing we're going to immediately do is use Rin's ultimate. This is just going to give them another debuff, which is what we really want to do. Just stack up these debuffs as fast as possible and allow us to get off a 3rd ultimate before we're actually off of this in general. So with that in mind, we're going to immediately go ahead and use Norn, getting us a wind screen up, making sure everyone is pretty much defended, giving us the most that we can. And then the next time we go with Wonder, we're going to put up a defense down on all of these guys, so getting us a nice bit of damage. Now, if you want it, you could risk it and use the defense down then, because as you can see, we did a ton of damage from having all the things that are on them currently. I don't recommend it because not having enough shields can really mess you up, especially in this fight, when it comes down to point values, or even when it just comes down to living in general. So we're already around 900k, which is absolutely amazing. I think we've already used Puppet once. I don't think we've used her twice just yet, so we're going to go ahead and use her again for the 2nd time. The 3rd time she pops up, we're going to use the skill 3. So with this in mind, we have our shields up. We do not need to buff with Yuki this time. So once again, use Ferryman, get those nice old defense shreds off. And then with Yuki, instead, we're going to use her skill 1 instead of using the skill 3. Reason why we're not using the skill 3 is because since Yusuke has already used his counter and it's not up currently, there's no point of using the skill 3. It won't allow him to trigger it earlier because that's not how his little skill works anymore. He got hit and he didn't take damage, but he still got hit. So you know what I mean? It's not going to let you do the counter twice. So instead, you want to go ahead and use the skill 1, just getting off some more damage in general for just the score points. And then when it's Yusuke's turn, we're going to use the skill 2, just repeating what we did on turn 2, which, ooh, we hit almost 100k with that. And then we're going to set up the debuff. This debuff is going to be really, really helpful because at this point, we're just going to get those nasty freaking single target, at least counters, which are going to deal some decent damage. Now, hopefully Yuki does get knocked and not Yusuke, because Yusuke can get knocked if you aren't too careful with this. But let's go ahead and hit it. Decent damage off. Unfortunately, no counters. But oh, let's go. Yuki got knocked once again, and so he should attack us again here. And this gives us that extra damage that we are looking for. So we got some decent damage. Now we can do whatever we want to do. With this one, we've already used, or at least no, we haven't used Yuki's yet. So seeing that she's down, we can't use her just yet, so we have to wait. With this in mind, use Naughty Lion. Once it gets to Yuki's turn, we're going to pop off her all-out attack because this will give us a defense bonus, and this is what we really want to deal the most damage at the final turns. So we get the defense bonus. Everything's perfect with this. We're going to start setting up Yusuke once again with the skill 2. And now with this in mind, let's use his skill 3. And I think we should be able to get at least Puppet up right here if I'm right. Yeah, now Puppet pops up. This is where you use the skill 3 on Puppet, pretty much getting your most expensive and most damaging turn here. So now we have the big boy shield, the big boy enhancement, and we're just gonna go ahead and I guess use our Mithras buff, giving us another defense enhancement. Seeing everyone already has a shield and things like that, we don't have to worry about it. So defense enhancement, see how much damage we get off. 242, not the best, but you know what? It's still decent. Still really, really good out of that. And boom. So we're steady getting that nice old damage that we're looking for. I think we can only attack 3 of them. I don't think we can attack all 4. So let's see. I think it ends here, right? Yeah. Okay. So it ends there. All right. So now we are on turn 2. So just in case this goes horribly, I'm gonna actually put this in the cut. So you guys got to see phase 1. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do phase 2. See, I'm glad I stinking did a cut there because I knew it was gonna freaking happen. This is I think our second try here, because that first try, although that first part was perfectly fine, the second part, as I was explaining it, we had the most bad luck ever. So second part is a little bit of RNG. You are going to need some better sets on your characters. I can straight up tell you my Morgana is not good enough on this. My Joker is okay, and my Yui is So take that with a grain of salt. Now, how you want to really do this? First things first, use your cure, aka the skill 2 with Morgana. This is going to set up his little passive thing that he's able to actually trigger his heals if you get a critical, or if your character is below 50% if you do have his A1, and things of that nature. So once that's all set up, boom. Your first thing that you want to go ahead and do afterwards is buff Yui. Yui is going to be your main person for damage other than Joker, and that's mainly because her follow-ups are absolutely insane. Now with her skill 1, or at least Joker's skill 1, make sure you're aiming for the mob on the left or the right, because if you leave these guys open or at least alive for too long, they're going to deal a ton of damage and it's not going to be a nice fight. So you can try to pray for a crit on Yui. She doesn't normally crit for me, or even, wow, she didn't even follow up that time, so we got double just straight up node. But you want to try and at least get rid of those guys as fast as possible. Now with Yui, use her skill 3 on Joker and just pray that Joker lives. Wonder can die, but Joker has to live. Doesn't matter what you're doing, Joker has to live. You want to make sure him and Yui are your main lifelines. Now with that in mind, use Party Frenzy. Party Frenzy is going to be more of your damaging move, and this is how you're going to deal all your damage to not only get rid of those little guys on the left and right, but also your damage to actually just end up getting the most out of what you want for the boss. Now instead of attacking with Morgana, we're going to use the heal. Reason being is because if you attack, it's going to take away his little passive, that little green thing at the bottom right here. It's going to take away that passive, and you're going to need it for when you revive Wonder, especially since the boss is going to attack you, and it's not going to be a nice sight for you, especially if you get double tapped the second you revive Wonder, which you want to do immediately. So first things first, use Fearless Suppression once again on the first one that you decide to hit. So either your left or right, it doesn't matter which one, and just hope that your Yui follows up to pretty much kill off the little boss right there. Now that this is all done, start to focus the next one. I would suggest try to get rid of her as fast as possible, because if you don't, things are going to get ugly very, very quickly. So we take some more damage, nothing too crazy. This is where we want to go ahead, revive our man Wonder. And so we should either kill her or either she'll be close to it, in which either way is perfectly fine. So now we have Wonder revived. Wonder's good. We're getting our little buff from Okeon, thankfully, because she's duped. And then at this point of time, I would once again heal with Morgana. This is what you always want to do. Morgana is going to be your lifeline, and such an importance when it does come down to this whole entire fight. Next thing that we're going to go ahead and use is Hot Variations. Hot Variations is mainly just to be here to set us up in damage wise here, and just pretty much keep us in the green when it comes down to damage and actually make us better. So we're going to immediately use the skill 1 once again with Joker. We should get our extra turn now, and we got a follow up, which is absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, no crits, but that's perfectly fine. Then once it's your skill turn, or at least your second turn with Joker, use the skill 2 to get off that nice old single target damage. Once again, we're going to use her skill 3, setting up Joker and her together, making sure she's able to deal as much damage as possible. And woo, that hurt, and I'm surprised we lived. But all right, that doesn't normally happen, but since it did happen and we're perfectly already set up, we got everything perfectly fine, let's go ahead and use our debuff on the boss. Now I forgot that's what we did. So you technically want to shock him. You don't want to use that debuff unless you have Soy, which is meant for defense shredding. Unfortunately, yeah, we can't do that to him. So at this point in time, just do what you need to do and just heal. Once again, your main thing is going to be healing. This is going to be your lifeline. So continuously sit here, skill 2, and just rinse and repeat. This fight is pretty easy as long as you have Yui here doing the follow-ups. You have everyone doing a little bit of their part in just keeping everyone a little bit alive. I don't really think I have to go over this too much. As you can tell, he starts to use the AoEs. The AoEs don't deal as much damage as the single targets, and you pretty much should be fine with this. When you do get your ultimate, use Yui's ultimate immediately, because everyone who attacks at this point in time could have a high probability of making her actually go ahead and counter. That is what we are looking for. So we're going to attack with Wonder. Hopefully she counters on this, or at least yeah, she goes ahead and follows up. Boom, some more damage. Well, we have Okion back. Let's use our skill 3 to make sure we're getting the most out of this. And we have 3 beats, so that's even more of a W on our end. Normally that doesn't happen, but we have 3 beats here at this point. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win like we wanted, but what we're going to also do, use Miracle Punch. We didn't get a crit. So normally if you get a crit, of course that's a bonus damage in general, but you're also able to heal. So we still got our heal, so that's perfectly fine. And just continue just spamming as many single targets on this guy as possible. This is all you want to do. Rinse and repeat. Don't do anything else. Doing anything too fancy will absolutely make you regret it, and you will most likely lose this whole match, not getting any good points off on this. So try to make your judgments of what you're doing in this fight as careful as possible, because as you can see, AoE nearly can tap us. So yeah, you want to make sure everyone's doing their duty and actually, you know, keeping up with your team in general. Now, I'm not going to risk another Miracle Punch. Normally you would use another Miracle Punch here, but not going to risk it. Let's get our heal on. So we're going to get a little bit less points than normal, at least in what we got our first time doing this. But once again, sit here, spam as many single targets as possible. Yui's going to keep on attacking. And lucky for us, since that happened, we got, of course, our third turn again. Hopefully Yui follows up on this one. Boom, another attack as well. Lovely damage. And we're pretty much just goated. We're good. We don't have to worry about anything here. I'm just going to use Joker's ultimate just to get off that extra damage. We're also going to go ahead and use Okion. I probably should use Okion first, but this is where you want to go ahead and use Okion once again. Use Hot Variations because you're getting the most for your buck by using Hot Variations. And then at this point, just finish out the match by just attacking. It's not going to be anything. It's nothing too crazy. It's not as crazy as the first phase. It's literally just attack, 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 heal, attack, 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 heal, and just keep going on. Do not let that momentum slow you down, or else you're not going to have a fun time. So without further ado, this should be just pretty much the end of it. I think with this one here, yeah, we're not dealing as much damage because we're not getting our crits off, unfortunately, but we're pretty much goated. So you know what, let's just start fooling around a little bit. Oh, we didn't even get another freaking hit on Miracle Punch. Wow, the game is truly trolling. And just continue using your single targets. That simple. Nothing too crazy with this one. This is one that, I'll be honest, if you just have your characters built on a card set pretty decently, living through this isn't too hard, and there's no real like thing that you have to crazy pay attention to. I probably should have used my skill 1 because it ended just then, but once again, we did pretty decent. And this gave me 2 million, and which is way lower than what I got because, of course, first turn, or at least first phase, I had the redo, which was way worse than the one that you guys show, or at least saw beforehand, and that still gave us 2 mil. So if we actually put this in account, 2 million, you should still be, yeah, within the top 100. So if you do get bad luck and you have what I got at this point, that's still 2 mil. You're still in the top 100. Anyone who kind of gets to that close mark of just 2 mil, or either around the like 1.9, 1.8, you should still be in the top 1%. And this will do you some very good justice. But without further ado, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I bounced around a little bit in the second part of this, but hopefully you guys don't ping me too much on that. And if you do ping me too much on it, boo-hoo, I'm not gonna cry about it. But hopefully you found it very interesting. Until next time, everybody, peace out.